right, we are live. Good morning, everybody.
So are we going?
We are going.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to All in Stitches on this beautiful Saturday morning. Actually, it's not too bad this morning. The temperature was 18 whole degrees instead of 18 below, or one of those crazy things. And the wind isn't blowing. The lake is iced over again for, I think, about the fourth time this year. It ices, it thaws, it breaks up. It's beautiful out at our place where it's all broken up and stacked on top of each other. But I was glad to see that temperature get above 15 anyway, and it's supposed to be up to 30 by this afternoon. So I actually left my long underwear at home today, and I'm here just in regular street clothes instead of my long johns and winter wear. Poppy's here to greet you. Those of you who haven't been in the store recently, Poppy has decided that she needs to be our official greeter. So the minute you open the door, she will wander up, to tell you hello. She does still have a little bit of a habit of jumping up on you, so do make sure that she stays down. And if dogs bother you, don't hesitate at all to just say, hey, could you control your dog, or lock her in the back room or whatever. But she does like to be here with us. Good morning, Patty. See, you're up and at 'em early. Hope it's a little nicer weather over in your area than it is here, but you guys have been getting some pretty rough stuff over there. Anybody else that's out there, tell us hi so we can acknowledge you. Appreciate those of you who are getting up and being with us this time of the day. Okay, Pops, you get down. A few things that are going on this week, other than complaining about the weather or talking about the weather. We, because things have been a little slow here at the store, we've gotten quite a few models made. Before we finish today, we'll pan around and show you some of the models of new lines of fabric that have come in. And one thing that I've noticed is I've worked here at the store since 2004, so that's a few years. I'm not one of those people that keeps track or knows who designers are. I have some customers that come in and they say, oh, do you have anything by Bonnie and Camille, or do you have anything by so-and-so, or do you have anything by and I have to kind of look at them with that deer in the headlight look and say, first of all, what company are they with? Because maybe I would know what company. But as far as knowing designers, I am pretty lax at that. The only couple of designers that I can pretty much always recognize are Kay Fassett, because that was one of the designers that I first fell in love with as I moved from kind of traditional quilting into a little more modern and creative look. Those of you who are not familiar with Kay Fassett, stop in, because we've got a pretty fair collection of Kay Fassett fabrics. There's 3 people involved with designing those fabrics: Kay Fassett, Brandon Mobley, and Philip Jacobs. And they collectively design things that coordinate, that go together. They all have their own styles, but the colorway of a line when it comes out will be coordinated. And the great thing is, all of their fabrics coordinate, it seems. I have some Kay fabrics that are 8 or 9 years old, and they are still coordinating with the new fabrics that come out. So that makes it easy to be able to use up your stash. But besides Kay, another one of my favorite designers is a fellow called Jason Yenter. He's out of the Seattle area, has a company called In the Beginning Fabrics, and his fabrics are beautiful and has whole lines that coordinate with each other. A new line that just came in this week is called the Sun, Moon, and Stars, and it is gorgeous. These are just a few pieces of it. As you can see, we've got the smiling moon going on. We've got some of the zodiac signs. Beautiful cream color to coordinate with the rest of the line. An amazing border print. This border print is just spectacular. See if I can get it right side up or upside down. We do have a model being made of this line, so it should be here within a couple of weeks. Mary Jameson took the model and is working hard to get that made. And it also, not only does he have the stars, moon, and sun, he has flowers with it. So a little different, a little darker than you might expect with flowers, but a typical Jason Yenter design. A beautiful collection. I think there's 10 or 11 more pieces in this collection. We will be putting kits together, or obviously you can come in and buy the individual yardage. One thing that people ask a lot is, how often do you change your needle on your sewing machine? Well, there's a wide variety of answers to that. I change mine quite a bit because I have a machine that when I turn it on, if I have my 1/4 inch foot on, my machine doesn't set to the center. So the first stitch I try to make, my needle hits the foot and goes boing. So I change my needles quite often. Some people say, oh, I haven't changed my needle since I got my machine. That's probably not often enough. They say that you should change your needle every couple of projects anyway. And if you start noticing any problems with your tension, or that it just is pulling the fabric a little bit when it pierces it, change your needle. I mean, a pack of needles, five good Schmetz needles is $5. So a buck a needle, that can make the difference between whether a project is going smoothly for you or whether you're having a lot of issues with it. Your thread's starting to break between stitches. Your stitches just don't look right. One of the first things to do is to change your needle. Another thing to do is clean your machine. I know that's news to some people, but cleaning your machine is one of the simplest ways to solve lots of problems. You take off the faceplate, take out your bobbin, take out your bobbin case, use a little brush and clean out that area. If you've got one of those if you're lucky enough to have one of those little vacuums, vacuum it out. Don't use canned air. Canned air puts moisture in there, which can be hard on some of the parts. If you have a regular air compressor, you can use that, or steal your husband's out of his shop. But be careful, because there are parts in there that then you can blow things into places that they shouldn't be. But just opening it up, taking a soft brush, cleaning it up can be a big help. Another thing that lots of people say is, how often should I change my rotary blade? Rotary blades, again, are fairly inexpensive. Here's a pack of 245 millimeter blades. It is $17.50 for the pack, but blades wear out. If you aren't holding your cutter perfectly perpendicular to your cutting mat, you roll the edge and then things don't cut evenly. If you make the mistake of running over a pin, that all of a sudden you'll notice when you're cutting across, you'll hear this smooth and then a boing and then smooth and boing. You can tell where you've hit the pin because the rotation of your blade will tell you exactly where you've got a ding in it. Change your blade. They wear out. If your blade is dull, you're putting too much pressure on it, and then your mats wear out fast. So taking care of your basic equipment can really save you a lot of problems and make everything run a lot smoother. Another thing that wears out are your seam rippers. Seam rippers have only a very small part right up here that is sharp, and there really probably isn't a way to sharpen them. But a dull seam ripper can make taking a seam apart very difficult. You end up pushing too hard, you risk the chance of cutting into your fabric, and it's frustrating enough to have to undo a seam or rip a seam. But if Jack the Ripper is not sharp, get a new one. They range from $3.50 to maybe $10 for a real good ergonomic one. If you do a lot of ripping, you might want to invest in a good one. But again, They get dull. Change it out. Don't keep old, dull things around that are going to make your projects even harder to do.
I'm ready to follow you.
Let's see, I do have some other things on here that I was going to talk about. We've been busy making some models this week, so Jess is going to try and follow me around, and we're going to show you some of the models that we've got going. This model up here is a new line of batiks from Banyan, and we just kind of picked a real simple Villa Rosa pattern called A-rolls to put it together to highlight those batiks. A couple people have said, "Oh, it's too bright, it's too gaudy, whatever." Yeah, it's springtime. It's gray outside. We need brightness. So this highlights the fabrics in that line. You might want to just coordinate them with some other more basic batiks and have it not be quite so bold. But again, a real simple project, one together, I think, in one day, and you utilized some great fabrics. It also could utilize some fat quarters that you've got laying around that you haven't figured out what to do with. So that's a fun new project. And we're going to move over here. I should walk backwards so you can see my face the whole time, but I probably end up falling. This was another project we put together this week. This is made by another Villa Rosa pattern. The pattern is called Addison. It's out of the Spring Promises fabric by Phoebe Fabrics, which is a new line we got in. We've got a number of pieces of that collection, and it, again, flowers, springy, but not your real bright pastel spring. This has got some intensity to it. Would work great for just a simple quilt like this, or any other quilt that you wanted to put together with it. And we do have kits. We do have kits of that available. Another project that came in this week, for those of you who like to buy kits, is this great kit by Moda. It's called Stateside by Sweetwater. This is the whole front would be included in this kit. Great directions, and we do have coordinating fabrics over here on the bench. We do have coordinating fabrics to enlarge it, to change it, come up with your own design. We also have layer cakes in that. So stop in and check out that new fabric from Moda. In the back room, we're going to wander back there and introduce you to one of our new employees.
Hi, Pops.
Sherry Christopherson has joined us. She was here sewing all the time. Felt that she was here so much that we might as well hire her. That's not really what we did, but she and her husband are just moving to this area. She loves to sew and loves being here, and will be a great addition to our staff. So here's Sherry. So come in, meet her, talk to her, find out a little bit about her. We're excited to have her. She's finishing up our Block of the Month quilt that she did with Mary Jameson. She has a little featherweight, so she's part of that group, and we are very excited to have her join us. So stop in and say hello. Another thing that's going to be coming up here shortly is next Saturday, we are going to go and visit Leah Emerson, who is one of our long-arm quilters. Many of you bring your quilts in to be quilted. You just fill out the paperwork, put them in a bag. We send them to Leah, and they come back, or not just Leah, but any of our quilters. They come back, and you really don't have a clue what happens while they're gone. So we're going to go to Leah's, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about prepping your quilt for the long arm quilter and show you some of the equipment and the things involved with long arming your quilt. So we're excited to do that. So put that on your calendar for next Saturday morning. unless the snow or the cold or whatever prevent us from doing it. But that's our plan for next Saturday. Again, if there's things that you'd like us to talk about, things that you would like us to go and do, we've thought maybe about going and seeing some different people's sewing rooms, show you a little bit about spaces that people sew in, are creative in, and we just are excited to be doing this and welcome you to come into the shop, visit us online, drop us a note, comment. I see a couple people are actually up and at them this morning. Diane down in Arizona has probably already been out and harvested from her garden. And we had shouted out to Patty before. If my daughter's watching this morning, I'm sorry that I outed you last week as to how old you are, but by outing you as to how old you are, that probably gave a little indication as to how old I am. It's hard for me to say that I'm only, like 59 if I have a 47-year-old daughter. So anyway, welcome. Glad to have you this morning. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Perfect. All right. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yes, I guess.